Pundit's Playbook. I'm your host, the Pundit. We cut through the noise to bring you the investor portfolio, tracking units, hunting value, and more importantly, staying 100% transparent. The strategy is locked, the record is live. Let's get to work.
Welcome to the Pundit's Playbook!
Hello, and welcome back to episode 9 of the Pundit's Playbook, broadcasting live from the Greenhouse HQ. If episode 7 was all about just stepping in and stopping the bleeding, then last week was an absolute masterclass in taking out the trash and scrubbing our ledger completely clean. We walked into the weekend with 8 plays on the board, and we walk away with a breathtaking 7-1 record. No fluff, no panic, and no chasing losses. Just trusting the analytical process, doing our spreadsheet work, and letting the numbers do the talking for us. We've got a massive board built today, fresh off a highly chaotic Magic round up north, and some pure tactical slaughter across the AFL landscape. I'm the Pundit. Let's get into it. Alright guys, I just want to take a quick couple of minutes now to strip away the music, stop talking about the individual match lines for a second, and just have a completely transparent, honest conversation with you about the bigger picture of this pod and where we are actually heading. From day one, I promised you absolute transparency. No hidden receipts, no deleted tweets, no combined statistics to pad out a bad weekend. We record every single unit. And because I keep a rigorous spreadsheet tracking everything, I've been doing some serious soul searching and deep data analysis over the last couple of weeks. I've never made it a secret that my ultimate long-term goal with this journey is to turn it into a legitimate 6-figure operation. It's a massive hill to climb, and if we look at the raw, basic math of our current situation, the reality is we aren't on track to hit it yet. Looking at the cold hard numbers, right now, on our main investments, we are sitting at a clinical 46 and 31 record. That is an elite 59.74% strike rate, giving us a massive 22% return on investment. If a professional tipster or a hedge fund saw a consistent 22% return on investment, they'd be biting your hand off for it. It proves the analytical model works. But math doesn't lie. At my current staking size of $250 a wager and averaging around 230 plays a year across the AFL and NRL calendar, that 22% return on investment only is going to net us around 11 or 12 grand in clear profit for the year. And that means we are only sitting at about 11% of where we actually want to be. Now, the temptation after such a successful start is to get excited and say, right, well, let's just up our stakes 10 times and chase the bag. But that is standard salesman behavior, and it's the fastest way to go completely broke. We aren't doing that. Smart punting requires patience, consistency, and respect for the reality of risk. I'm not in a financial position where I can just blindly cop massive uncalculated losses, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. To scale professionally, there are a lot of structural questions we have to answer first. When you start betting heavier capital, you have to look at spreading your risk across 2 or 3 different books so you don't get restricted or cut off. You have to look at total annual bet numbers and your bankroll buffer. So, we aren't rushing anything. We aren't going silly just because we've had a good fortnight. We're going to stick to exactly our current discipline, protecting our bankroll and focusing on proving our edge week in and week out. We will properly assess the staking shifts and logistical setups when next season rolls around. For the remainder of this season, the adjustment is simple. We double down on what works. When I completely broke down the spreadsheets and analysed our historic performance, sport by sport, it became blindingly obvious our AFL record is absolutely clinical. It is, by a country mile, our biggest performer and our sharpest edge. So over the coming weeks, you'll see us naturally ramp up the volume on the AFL board, hyper-focusing on nailing those disposal maps and player props where our data is strongest. I'm just a regular bloke doing the labour behind the scenes, grinding over the spreadsheets every night to make sure our tracking is bulletproof. If we keep proving this edge with total transparency over a long period of time, the growth will take care of itself. Well, let's get straight into the breakdown of how we built this 7-1 card.
Oh my word, we'll have a look. Of course we'll have a look.
Alright, looking back at how the weekend unfolded. Starting out, we had Thursday night, Bailey Smith. He managed to get his 30-plus disposals quite easily against the Lions. And The Undertaker also cashed his card early with a massive Geelong plus 15.5 play as the Cats won outright by 41 points. Moving into Friday night, we had our only blemish of the week, with the Sharks completely blowing the Bulldogs apart, 38-16. Unfortunately, torching our tight, either team 1-12 margin play. But we did bounce back instantly in the Darwin humidity. We called the conditions to perfection, and Horn Francis finished on 17 touches to cruise under his 24.5 line. Moving into Saturday afternoon, we had Adelaide beating North Melbourne 133-65. They covered our minus 17.5 line with an ocean to spare. We also got Rochelle's 2+ goals before halftime. Saturday twilight. At the MCG, we had Carl Amon over 24.5 disposals. He managed to rack up 28. We also had Jack Steele over 23.5. He cleared that, finishing on 26. Then, the icing on the cake was Sunday. The Panthers suffocated the Dragons 28-6, and they sealed our under 57.5 total play without a single ounce of sweat. And let's look at how that puts us in terms of overall record. Now, as we said, these numbers are completely transparent. Our main investments are at 46 wins and 31 losses. Currently a 59.74% strike rate. We've also netted plus 16.96 units in profit. The Undertaker currently sits at 9 wins and 5 losses with plus 2.99 units of profit. Alright, looking ahead to this week's board. The spreadsheets have been completely recalibrated, and as I promised you earlier, we are attacking this board with absolute maximum focus this week. Now, I do want to preface this week's betting tips with some advice, and that's not to get carried away after some early success. As we mentioned earlier, we are pushing a lot more plays this week, but in saying that, it's a very big risk and not something to take lightly. I don't want people thinking, because we've had some hot weeks and have a big card out, that these are guaranteed winners. Remember to manage your bankroll accordingly, and just take it easy this week. At the end, I'll also give you my best bet for the week for those who prefer quality over quantity. Now, starting out, Thursday night we have Hawthorn versus Adelaide. We are going to be jumping on Carl Amon over 23.5 disposals at $1.93. Isaac Rankin under 23.5 disposals at $1.89. And we're also jumping on Rory Laird over 23.5 disposals at $1.83. Moving into the NRL, we have Canberra Raiders versus Dolphins. We're jumping on Jack Bostock anytime try scorer at $2.20. And that takes us into Friday night, where we have Richmond versus Essendon. We're jumping on Jacob Hopper over 21.5 disposals at $1.83. And we're also going to be taking Jaden Short under 25.5 disposals at $1.92. That is it for Friday night, and we head into Saturday. We've got North Melbourne versus the Gold Coast Suns, and we're going to be on Sam Flanders over 25.5 disposals at $1.87. We've also got Harry Sheasel over 30.5 disposals at $1.82. Took Miller over 23.5 disposals at $1.85. And Ben Long, 2+ goals at $1.87. Moving into Collingwood versus West Coast Eagles. Now, believe it or not, we're fading the fairy tale here. Scott Pendlebury, under 28.5 disposals at $1.85. Then we have the NRL. We have the St. George Dragons up against the Warriors. We're going to be back in the Dragons minus 14.5 here. We get $1.90. And then we are looking at Port Adelaide versus Carlton. We've got Zach Butters over 29.5 disposals at $1.86. Adam Chera over 20.5 disposals at $1.85. Jace Burgoyne under 21.5 disposals at $1.82. And the total match points for the game under 170.5 at $1.80. Then we move into the NRL, and we have the Sea Eagles taking on the Titans. Here, we're going to be taking the Titans plus 13.5 at $1.90. And then we move into Sunday, where we finish it out. We've got Giants versus Brisbane Lions, and we're backing against Lachie Neale here. We're going under 29.5 disposals at $1.90. And then we move into the Western Bulldogs versus Melbourne. We have Riley Sanders under 25.5 disposals at $1.86. And we're also taking Bailey Fritsch 1 goal in the first quarter for $2.55. Now that takes us into The Undertaker. And man oh man, he's got a couple of plays on the board this week. So he is going to be taking Melbourne Storm under 23.5 team totals points at $1.88. And for his AFL pick, he's jumping on the Cats to beat the Sydney Swans minus 10.5 at $1.90. Moving into our stake-to-stake challenge. We're up to leg 4 now. So this week, we are on the fairy tale, and we're going to be taking Collingwood head-to-head at $1.09. We've got the full $142.68 on it. And we're looking for another win before we head into leg 5. Now, best bet of the week, in my opinion, Rory Laird over 23.5 disposals at $1.83. If you want one play this week, this is the one. I imagine Finn Magnuson will go hard at Rankin, which leaves Rory Laird open, and it should be go time for Laird. So that's the picks. I hope you enjoy it. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you at the winners circle.
Where the punters pull up for value, yeah, you already know. We got that plan and them units. 1 for the grind, 2 units when we send it. Turbo! We're still about fun and we always gonna stake it. Same game, multis and the shit list for the sake of it. Well,